And Indiana has done it. Their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx. This is Howard setting up McDonald, knocking down the tray. Finds a cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
The country won't believe you. Given Caitlin's position, the Indiana Fever's recent success is noteworthy. Facing the most dominant club in the WNBA and losing their biggest star, Caitlin Clark, who was deserted by a seasoned player, Dana Bonner. They were positioned for a stunning failure. MVP frontrunner Nafisa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx were expected to win the Commissioner Cup handily. Rather, the Fever gave a master lecture in perseverance and heart. Everyone was in awe of the performance led by Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. Your perception of this Fever team will be permanently altered by what transpired in that game. Additionally, Caitlin Clark's 6 remarks following the game encapsulated why this victory is so significant. Comment "I've got the Fever" if you agree with the statement. Come on, imagine this. The Indiana Fever's roster is in ruins as they reach the Target Center for their very first Commissioner's Cup final. Their standout sophomore, Caitlin Clark, who had been the team's mainstay throughout the season, was out for the 3rd consecutive game due to a persistent groin ailment. Not just any player was absent. Fans flocked to venues all around the nation because of this, their top scorer and assist machine.
With Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer playing?
She's making progress. You know, I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. You know, making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are two different things, and we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks, and that's the priority right now.
However, that's not the only Fever we have. Another huge gap in their rotation was created by Dyrus Dantas playing in the FIBA America thousands of kilometers away.
Listo. Hey Fever, good luck. I miss you.
Then there was the Dwana Bonner incident, which stunned everyone to no end. This is an experienced player. To gain leadership and experience, the Fever made a signing during the summer. What is she doing? After just 9 games, she leaves the team and is waived. Discuss leaving your colleagues when they most need you.
Dwana Bonner was brought in for leadership. She was brought in for leadership. And do you want to know all that these young players learned from her? If things don't go your way, refuse to show up. Continue to get paid a max contract while you are sitting out, refusing to play.
She got benched. She couldn't handle it. I want out. She's not playing well. She's getting criticized. I want out.
Let's now discuss the people they were up against. Not all of the Minnesota Lynx were good. They held a dominant position. They were the greatest team in the whole WNBA going into this game, with a 14 win-loss record. Playing on their home court, they were the reigning Commissioner's Cup champions, and Nafisa Collier was the front-runner for MVP. The sold-out audience was energized and eager to see their team win the title again. The Lynx were favored by 14 points in Las Vegas. 14 points. Before tip-off, the Fever's obituary had already been written by the basketball community. Sports analysts were predicting a rout and arguing that, without their top players, Indiana had no business playing Minnesota.
They look pretty flawless, in the way that they're playing. I don't know if different is the word as much as they look even more connected. They're a team that was connected a year ago, but really the nuance of having each other's back on the defensive end, of knowing where your teammate's going to be, discipline to coverages, the connectivity that they have on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, the way that they move with and without the ball, the way that the ball moves makes it really tough to cover. I often say that offense is like a dance, and they are flowing, man. They are making music, and there's no doubt about it. So we have to try to be disruptive, and we have to try to take them out of that rhythm.
This is where things become really difficult for the Fever. This was meant to be their time. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong during their first ever participation in the Commissioner's Cup final. The other players were aware that everyone was watching them. All of the critics were waiting for them to crumble under the strain. The Fever entered the match like David and Goliath, But David arrived with a damaged slingshot, and half of his army had turned against him. This is where things start to go horribly wrong. The Fever appeared to be a totally different team without Caitlin Clark. Prior to the Commissioner Cup final, they had lost 3 of their previous 5 games and frequently blew double-digit leads that ought to have been simple victories. They lost the rhythm that made them dangerous throughout the season as the offensive speed slowed to a crawl. The movement of the ball simply vanished. Instead of playing team basketball, players began playing hero ball. It was visible to you in real time. They'd force up contested shoots rather than make the extra pass. They would attempt to handle everything individually rather than putting their trust in their teammates. The Fever team that had captivated supporters throughout the season wasn't this one.
Coach, this is your first season with this batch of players, and so I'm just wondering if the Commissioner's Cup is just a stepping stone for greater things to come.
Well, I hope so. But at the same time, we want to take care of business now, right? We want to win a cup. So we're not looking at it necessarily as a stepping stone. We're looking at it as an opportunity to win. And then we're looking at it, as coaches, as an opportunity to continue to stack days. We haven't had a lot of consistency in our lineup. And so we haven't really built that camaraderie and connectedness that we need in order for us to be successful. But we can take another step towards growth, another step towards consistency on the floor, in execution, in energy level. We're playing the best team in the league right now, and we've got to come out and we got to play our A game.
Now, let's discuss Aaliyah Boston. Although she is one of their greatest weapons, she was not receiving the passes that would have allowed her to dominate the paint. Her teammates weren't finding her, but Boston thrives when she receives the ball in her areas. Instead, she would call for the ball, take a low position, and watch while guards forced up jumpers from the outside. Her face was showing signs of growing displeasure. Without their floor commander, the team's identity appeared to disappear. Clark did more than just score goals and receive help. She was in charge of planning the attack, enlisting everyone, and ensuring that things were done. They appeared disoriented on both sides of the court without her. Additionally, opponents began game planning in a different way. They were certain that they could concentrate all of their defensive energy on thwarting Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell without having to worry about Clark foiling their plans.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screening defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us, it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Anyone else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
For the entire roster, this Commissioner Cup game turned into the moment of truth. Without their finest player, could they manage to play winning basketball? Could they regain the unique ball movement and team dynamics that define them? This battle made the subsequent events even more amazing.
Head coach Stephanie White has a motto. She says, pressure is a privilege. You came into the former champion's house and took them down on their home floor. How does it feel to bring Indiana their first championship?
It feels great. We knew that we had to come in here with energy. We know that they're a great team and they were going to go on runs. And so for us, it was about containing those runs and then going on our own.
What followed will chill you to your core. The Indiana Fever made the decision to craft their own narrative. You might see a change in their eyes at the first glimpse. This was a different squad than the one that had been having trouble without Clark. They gave it everything they had, making sure they won one for their injured superstar. When it counted, Kelsey Mitchell took center stage and dominated the conversation. In the first quarter against the Lynx, she immediately displayed her attacking prowess by driving to the hoop. Mitchell shot an amazing 41% from three-point range after working hard to get open from beyond the arc. Her lightning-fast shooting became a weapon the Lynx was unable to halt. She was simply playing her game to the best of her abilities without pressuring anyone.
What gave you the confidence to come in here and take down this team on their home floor?
We knew we were capable. God has equipped us, and so for us, about coming here and doing what we know what to do. I think the entire game, coach just continued to instill that confidence, continue to tell us take it one possession at a time, and we did that.
The game plan was obviously to wall off the paint against you and Tosh, but both of you guys finished with double-doubles. How did you guys get freed up? And for you especially, how'd you get going late in this game?
I mean, it started with Tosh. Tosh, that entire first half and even that entire game, just really took it to them, made them have to guard. And so with her attacking from different angles, they had to space out a little bit. And that fourth quarter, I was able to score.
And finally, Aaliyah, what are you going to do with your prize money?
That's for me to know.
Congratulations, lady.
This is where things start to become really fascinating, though. Aaliyah Boston dominated as everyone knew she could, finally getting the ball in her positions. She finished with 12 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and an incredible double-double. Boston held her own when against all-star Nafisa Collier. With each possession, the confidence was evidently growing. Boston demonstrated her leadership after the game by declaring, "Everyone matters. Everyone, in my opinion, truly fulfilled their part. We performed admirably in the fourth quarter. Everyone was taken aback by Natasha Howard's MVP-caliber effort, which altered the course of the match. In addition to his 16 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals, Howard was named the Commissioner's Cup MVP.
Corrals it out to Cunningham in the corner, got the three. Indiana on top.
She demonstrated ice in her veins under pressure as she made 8 of 8 free throws. The crucial element was Howard's defensive vigor. She forced 5 turnovers while guarding Nafisa Collier and limiting her to difficult shots. When the Fever most needed it, her performance was flawless.
Howard finds a cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
Beautiful read by Natasha Howard. And Ari McDonald, that opened up the three-point shot.
Howard to steal. Open floor in front of her, got the lay. Indiana battling.
This crowd is quiet. Natasha Howard is a former Defensive Player of the Year, knows the ball is coming to Nafisa Collier, just gets that deflection, gets going in the open court. And it is all Indiana in terms of the momentum in this game right now. This building is quiet.
Off the bench, Sophie Cunningham provided the team with the fire they needed. With 13 points and 7 rebounds, including 3 three-pointers, she was a major catalyst that helped the Fever overcome an early disadvantage. Fans went crazy after Cunningham's clutch performance.
It was a team effort tonight, but with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, your MVP is Natasha Howard.
With her enormous contributions, Lexi Hall showed that she belonged on this stage. She was determined not to let this chance pass her by. Ari McDonald, a recent addition, too had an instant impact, supplying the team with the spark they required and scoring 12 points. The timing of her comeback to the roster couldn't have been more ideal.
Gives it up to Mitchell. Mitchell. Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms! Big time trifecta, Sophie Cunningham.
Suddenly, the team recalled how to move the ball and play as a unit. 5 players demonstrated their balanced attack by scoring in double figures. The movement of the ball was precise. The defense was oppressive. Over the last 3 quarters, they restricted the Minnesota Lynx to 34.9% shooting and held them to just 39 points. The home side rallied to within 7 points and forced a timeout early in the fourth quarter, and you could feel the momentum shift as the Target Center crowd surged back to life. However, the Heat quickly answered, with McDonald scoring another basket and Boston scoring 2. They wouldn't give Minnesota the chance to re-enter the game at all. A team with killer instinct was evident in the closing moments. They shocked the basketball community by winning 74-59. The underdogs had accomplished the unthinkable. They demonstrated that a strong will and heart could conquer any challenge. This victory wasn't the only one. It was a declaration that would alter everything.
Finds Hall beyond the arc, his score! Polson with the trifecta.
And that's how you do it.
Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms.
A joint effort across the board. Everyone on this roster did their part tonight.
Here is what actually transpired, though. Caitlin Clark said 6 words that clarified everything after the game. Throughout the entire Commissioner Cup final, Clark maintained a noticeable and encouraging presence despite being sidelined due to a groin ailment. She supported her teammates, gave them advice, and remained totally involved in every possession while watching from the sidelines. Despite being unable to play, she demonstrated her commitment to the team's success on the WNBA's social media accounts. Everyone was interested in Clark's thoughts on this amazing, heartbreaking triumph. As cameras followed the squad into the locker room for their celebration, the excitement was growing. Pure gold was what followed. "Guys, I just know that everyone in the league is sick," Clark remarked as the squad celebrated in the locker room. "That's right," the woman stated. "Everybody in the league is sick." Those 6 words cut straight to the heart of everything. Clark encapsulated exactly what everyone was thinking but was too scared to express aloud. Throughout the season, the WNBA's envy issue had been simmering beneath the surface, and Clark finally addressed it head-on. There was an electrifying celebration in that locker room. Clark was seen on camera jokingly inviting teammates, including rookie Michaela Timpson, to partake in the celebrations while holding the Commissioner's Cup trophy in a celebratory chalice. This humorous encounter demonstrated her ability to be an involved and encouraging teammate despite her injury. The group accepted the us versus the world mentality that had helped them achieve this amazing triumph. Even while everyone wanted them to fail, this victory showed that they could succeed. The pre-game expectations of the media were totally demolished. In fact, ESPN had to hastily alter their pre-planned video, Lynx dominate Fever to win Commissioner Cup, after the game. That demonstrates just how startling this result was. In loss, the Minnesota Lynx displayed true dignity. After the game, head coach Cheryl Reeve acknowledged, "They just sort of beat us," emphasizing the Indiana team's strength and play. The appreciation the Fever had gained for their achievement was demonstrated by this acknowledgement from the reigning Commissioner Cup winners. The Fever team you're looking at recently demonstrated that they are prepared for 2025 and beyond. Without their biggest star, they proved they had the character, passion, and depth to succeed. This squad becomes extremely dangerous after Clark has fully recovered. This triumph went beyond a simple game. It was a declaration about conquering jealousy and hardship. The Fever demonstrated that great champions manage to overcome all obstacles, including when everyone else gives up on you, when important players desert you, and when injuries mount.
Coming into this, you talked about so much, hey, you got to have the right approach, don't trick this off, have the focus. Take me inside that mindset of you guys coming into this game and how tonight was just a collective effort that got it done.
I describe this entire experience as a gut check experience, and I mean that intentionally. I mean physically, mentally, psychologically. It was a gut check moment today, and I think for us, it was about making sure we won those moments that mattered. And I thought down the stretch of the game, we did an unbelievable job of just staying together, weathering the storm, and kind of utilizing what we needed to based on our schemes and our personnel from practice. And I thought down the stretch of the game specifically, we bought in. All 5 of us, whoever was on the floor bought in, and I think you guys got to see that.
The Indiana Fever just demonstrated to the WNBA what happens when a team with heart and tenacity is counted out. They demonstrate that a player's championship DNA is ingrained in the team. When it counted most, the whole roster, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hall, and Ari McDonald, stepped up. This triumph demonstrates that 2025 will be unique for this group. This team will be unbeatable whenever Caitlin Clark is well again. With her back on the court, they are much more dangerous since they now know they can win without her. Comment "I've got the fever" if you agree with the statement. Turn on all notifications, like, and subscribe to ensure you don't miss anything. After you click the video on the screen, we'll meet you in the following.